Hello. Are you looking to connect with your tarot deck? Do you want to understand the cards at a deeper level so that you can listen to your intuition and read your tarot cards with ease? Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Elizabeth, and today we are going to be talking about the Nine of Wands. I'm going to take you on a journey to understand the Nine of Wands at a much deeper level. We're going to look at the numerology, we're going to look at the astrology, we're going to look at the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, we're going to look at the classical elements, and we're going to look at the actual drawing by Pamela Coleman-Smith and the significance of the images on this card that tell the story of what the card actually is about. So if you're interested in knowing the Rider-Waite-Smith at a much deeper level, and this is the way for you to learn the tarot, once you've learned the Rider-Waite-Smith, you can read any deck because most decks are based on this deck, and this deck is the most famous deck in the world, so you really do need to have a good sense of it. So without further ado, let's spin the camera around and take a look at this card. So let's have a look at Nine of Wands. So I'm going to be reading from my cheat sheets because, well, I can't remember everything. And I don't want you to feel like you have to remember everything either. This is not about memorizing everything that's on the card. It's about listening to me, getting a sense of the cards so that they come alive in front of you. So as you're learning, you start to really get a sense of the overall meaning as all the components come mesh together as I speak about them. And then you can start to just digest that meaning and come up with your own sense of what it means for you. And that is hugely important because if somebody approaches you for a reading, they approach you for a reading for a reason. They're not just they're not just walking around thinking, I feel like I'm reading, or you'll do. Often people come past you for a reading, or people that you feel drawn to read for, there's a reason. And the more you can link into what the cards mean for you, the more you will have an understanding of how they fit together and the sorts of messages that you need to be imparting in your readings. So, Nine of Wands. And you can see we're getting a lot more wands on the cards every single time we look at them. So 9 is about expansion and attainment. It's this magical meaning of 3 times over, and 3 is creativity. It's creativity and communication. It's a disruptive number. And you've got it 3 times over here to create 9. And my understanding of the meaning, of course, my writing and understanding of the meaning is expansion and attainment. So here, if you look at the Nine of Wands, he's come to the end of a battle. He's battle worn. He's got his head bound up. But there's the expansion that's going on here is about looking out and being cautious. And I think about people who are battle worn that come home from battle, come home from a war, and they're constantly in high alert. And that's what this is about. You're in high alert. And how is that sort of expansion holding you back? Because you can see you've got a barrier here. He's taken one of the barriers for himself. And what does that mean for him moving forward? Is he going to be able to step through that barrier of wands and getting on with his life? Or is he going to be forever in that space of too much expansion? A card that I think of that reminds me of this is the Moon card, which is also 9. 10 plus 8 is 9. Card number 18. And this is a card about creativity in overdrive. 3 by 3 by 3. So you know, you've got to a point where you're starting to get into confusion because you're second guessing yourself too much. And I can see that expressing in a slightly different way here in the Nine of Wands. Let's look at Nine of Cups. You're very self-satisfied with your attainment, and most likely you work very hard. Nine of Pentacles, and you've attained what it is that you've gone out to achieve. I'm almost thinking here, though, the expansion is a little bit too self-satisfied. So you're looking here, it's a little bit of narcissistic attainment. Here again, expansion, creativity, 3x3x3 in overdrive, and you are in nightmares. Here, expansion and attainment, but you've worked hard and you appreciate the results of your toils. So looking at expansion and attainment in different ways, of course, the 9 that is the Major Arcana card is the Hermit. And this is the classic card of expansion where you separate yourself away and you look internally for your expansion in order to create greater personal growth. So that's your 9, the Hermit. So when we're thinking about this card, we're thinking about 3x3x3. If we think about 3, it's creativity and communication. It's that, and then when we start to multiply it, we start to get a very different interpretation of that sense of 3 in the 9. So let's have a look at the 9 of Wands, because these cards, the Major Arcana cards, all have videos. The Minor Arcana cards, the Cups, the Swords and the Pentacles, not at the time of filming, but as I complete this filming series, when you go down into this description box, you will see the links across to the other cards if you would like to watch those and see how I have interpreted those. So let's have a look at the 9 of Wands. Lord of great strength. So here we're looking at a soldier, and he is battle worn, but he is still vigilant. He's selfless. He's embracing the change that's around him. But he is hyper vigilant and he's anxious. So we're looking at 3x3x3, and looking at my description here in the numerology. It's a card that's moving from one state to another as 3 compounds to 6, compounds to 9. It guides us to embrace change, and it's a way of us looking at our expansion and how we manage that as we embrace and enaction change. If we look at Yesod, is the Seraphot, which is foundation. And if we look at the meaning of that, it's about the energy of everything around us and the balance of masculine and feminine. So again, in our expansion and our attainment or achievement, finding that balance, making sure that we are able to manage the 3x3x3. If we're looking at Minor Arcana cards, and we're looking at Yesod, which is down here at the bottom of the Tree of Life, all of the 9s will sit on that Seraphot and emanate energy. So unlike the Minor Arcana where we looked at all of the pathways, we're looking at the actual Seraphot, which emanate the energy of the universal energy, God, or whoever you want to call it. Element of fire, we're looking at the second decan of Sagittarius. So we're coming around, if we're looking at the wheel, we're up the top here. Second decan of Sagittarius, so right in the middle. And the last card that is actually on the wheel is the 10 of Wands, which we are going to talk about Next, if we look at the traditional meaning, this is about a situation you didn't anticipate being about to happen, and there's an anxiety there in this card, and looking at how you can build yourself up to feel more confident about your situation. Making sure that you finish all of the projects around you before moving on, tie up all the loose ends so that you can move on with confidence. It's a card that also might be inviting the person who is represented in this card to seek support, to seek help for the situation that they've found themselves in. And again, I think of the Five of Pentacles, this idea of the help's there. Are you able to reach out, and are you able to ask for the help that you need when you need it? Classical element of fire, Sagittarius, timing December 3rd to 12, and traditional timing of spring. We're looking at the moon in Sagittarius, generous, idealistic, humorous, and impatient. So let's look at the symbolism within the card. So the figure here is standing in front of 8 wands and holding one. And this is someone who's on the lookout for the next challenge. So they're holding the 9th wand as the next challenge that they're going to take on. So it's almost as if in this card there's too much expansion and it's bringing on anxiety. The wands are upright. They're forming a barrier between things of the past and things of the present. And the differing heights represent the differing challenges that you've had to undertake. So it's whether you can actually find that balance between past and present in order to come to equilibrium. The head bandage represents that you've been hurt by life's challenges and what you've been through, but I would say and interpret the card as the worst has happened and the best is yet to come. So are you able to heal from the challenges you've had and move on? The facial expression is alert. It can also indicate worry about what might happen next. And this idea of the eyes looking upwards is listening to one's own intuition about what next move this person should take. Or even if you look here, the eyes are sort of looking backwards. Are they looking back towards that gap in the wands, as if to say, that's my place of vulnerability. That's where I need to protect myself. Blue sky offers hope that you will achieve clarity of thought and the ability to expand out with confidence. The green symbolism of the landscape again is fertility and your ability to overcome problems, that if you can just step through where you are now, that you're going to have great growth and stability. The grey path that you're on now, I think, can symbolize confusion and the fact that you're on this neutral flat surface where you're just not sure what's next. And of course, that's inviting you to expand out into the world and overcome the setbacks that you've been experiencing. So that is Nine of Wands, working hard to overcome challenges that are not over yet. Be watchful for events that you do not anticipate. So again, being drawn into even perhaps challenges that you might feel overwhelmed by. So that is the Nine of Wands. I hope you've enjoyed my interpretation of the card and bringing in all of the symbolism together to help you have an understanding. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please hit that notifications bell and subscribe to my channel. I would so appreciate it if you do. I really hope you're enjoying this series, and the next card that we will be looking at is the 10 of Wands. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.